If we were to divide the market up, and let's say in three segments, you've got low, mid, and high. Your low end segment, is that just poor build quality, like miles out, or is it just location, or you can get some good build quality in there?
Hello team, and welcome back to another Two Fat Brokers podcast. I'm Barney from Dubai.
Ben from Abu Dhabi.
Daryl from 100% Property.
Daryl from 100. Why are you called 100% Property?
Because
Darryl?
we give 100% commission to our brokers.
Well, that seems like a flawed business plan.
It is.
Tell us how that works.
I don't want a team.
Oh,
I
so
don't want to babysit. I don't want to hold hands.
Okay.
I enjoy disappearing for the summer for 4 months, and so I enjoy just being a one-man band. But I like having people around. So I've got an office full of people. They all make their money. They pay me a membership fee every month. Happy days.
Oh, there's the crux.
I got it in the end.
Fee.
Membership fee.
Okay, I was going to say, how do you pay for your office? How do you pay for your marketing?
They pay for it.
Okay, but there you go. So you get free office space and free marketing.
Pretty much.
Genius.
So how many brokers do you have?
We have a handful, not too many.
Okay.
Honestly speaking,
Are we talking like a normal person's handful, or like,
a couple of handfuls.
one of them?
Honestly speaking, it's not for most brokers. You need to be very disciplined, very self-motivated, and I've got brokers in the office that make millions, and I've got brokers in the office that make nothing. And I honestly sit down with the brokers that make nothing and say, I don't think this is the place for you, to be honest. And the ones that are making millions, I'm very happy for them.
How much is your membership fee?
$3,500 a month.
It's too expensive.
It's like it's a Keller Williams kind of model, right? They do something similar. They take commission, but like a small amount, and you got to pay for your seat. Basically.
Yeah. There's a few companies in the market doing it now. I've seen.
Okay.
But it's we give you 100% commission, but then we want 5% of your deal, 10% of your deal. It's like, well, that's not 100% commission, is it?
Yeah.
So we're about as close as you get.
Okay.
It's not a money maker. Pays the bills.
What happens if you drop below, I don't know, 6 brokers? Then who's paying for your office and your marketing at that point? Because I know with a lot of these property portals, it's fixed contract for a year, right?
So any contract has to be paid up front, unless you're a long-term broker with us.
Okay.
And frankly speaking, the setup was always meant for me. Obviously, I take projects exclusive from developers. I sell it off plan. Inevitably, as the years roll on, those owners come back to me to sell their resale units. So I needed a brokerage license. I needed an office. I needed all these other things just to operate, just to put these deals through. So it made sense to just expand it that little bit more. If it goes down to one broker, just me again, no problem. I can cover the bills with my little bit of income.
Nice. And what's our topic for today?
Yeah.
I've forgotten. What is our topic for today?
Our topic today is the affordable housing versus luxury housing. What's the landscape like in Dubai and Abu
how
Dhabi?
are Dubai and Abu Dhabi balancing the affordability
Balancing
and
it.
luxury scale? Well, I mean, I would argue straight off the bat that there is no balancing between affordability and luxury. The whole thing is that they're two very separate entities.
But you can't just have one rather than the other, right? I mean, you need to have both.
Affordable luxury.
No, I mean, listen, luxury is one of
Bit of a
those
misnomer.
massively overused,
Well,
like
yeah, I suppose
reimagining.
that
It's an overused word.
You have to define what is luxury.
Everyone wants to call their project luxury.
Email is nice.
Yeah, not all of it's luxury. It devalues the
Like
word.
hot water then.
But I mean, we need to talk about so in Dubai they're launching projects all the time. Some of them are, let's say, high end. Some of them are mid market. Some of them are. They ever launch any low end, like kind of very affordable stuff? Does that happen?
They don't hit the headlines very often, and it's not. Hands up, it's not something that I would have heard about. But nobody wants to market their product as, entry level affordability.
Why
No,
though?
everything's luxury.
Yeah,
Everything's luxury.
Yeah, I mean,
until
so they call
handover
it luxury,
comes.
but is it? Because I mean, there's some like I know in the past they've launched townhouses for under $1 million, right? Like obviously far out, but it does happen, and that's got to be entry level.
I can tell you
but I
now.
can guarantee it wasn't marketed as affordability,
No, sure.
as affordable.
I can tell you luxury products that I was offering off plan going back 2017, 18, 19, I was ashamed of. And we're talking 20 million plus. I was ashamed of when I walked into these properties.
when they were handed over.
When they were handed over. I won't mention who. I won't mention where.
Yeah.
But my clients were very unhappy as well. I was handing these villas over and immediately going for renovation.
Well, that was an
the
argument where one of my clients walked into their off plan and they looked around and they immediately said, I want to meet with the developer. And we met with the developer, and the developer went, "You've spent 18 million dirhams on an off plan. You're just going to redevelop it, aren't you? You're going to renovate it." Like, that's kind of not why they spent 18 million dirhams on this. They expected a level of quality, but these were marketed as luxury. So where do you define luxury? Where do you define affordability? I mean, it's such a huge sliding scale. What is luxurious to one is not to another.
No, but I mean, it must be expense, right? So in Abu Dhabi right now...
No, I mean, we've just said, right? You can spend 18 million dirhams on a house and walk in and it's...
Yeah, but that's when you're looking at the end product, right? It's hard for us to do that sitting around here. But we're talking more about, so in terms of the price point, you've got entry, you've got mid, and you've got high level. Obviously, that's a high level price point. They didn't get what they were expecting. So that's an issue.
I think that you could take affordable prices, and I'll throw it out there. Ellington, very luxurious properties. Oxford, very luxurious. Metrical, very luxurious. Small ticket prices, 1.5 up to say 2.5 million dirhams. So affordable, but when you walk in, it feels very luxurious.
So value.
Yeah, difference between price and value, right? Price what you pay, value is what you get. Yeah.
I think that when you're buying off plan, it's always a risk, because you can't feel and see and touch what's in front of you. Whereas you're doing luxury resale above, say, 100 mil, you can walk into your properties, you can see them, you know who the contractor is, you can see the finishes. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, but this is, again, it's a question of somebody's personal standards as well.
Absolutely.
Right? So what would be luxurious to you would not necessarily be luxurious to Daryl, and then really the play is, what quality can you get for the level that you can afford, and where is the affordability level?
Let me give you a great example of this. I was out on the weekend with my wife, and we were at a 5-star hotel, and for me, it wasn't luxurious enough. It was a bit rough around the edges.
Fancy, Daryl.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I love to go to beautiful hotels, like the best of the best. And quite often in Dubai, I'm at a 5-star hotel and I say to my wife, I just don't like this place. It feels run down. It feels old. It feels shabby. We won't be coming back.
And what did you pay for it?
Not a lot.
Did you get value?
Do you know what?
Barney,
you do. You do
Don't talk about that.
He tried to give me a number, but he said not a lot. So did he get value?
I'm playing 5 stars, 5-star. So you do expect to have.
That's your phone,
fault.
Daryl.
Handbag.
Oops.
Yeah, your man bag's vibrating.
Got to have a man bag.
Not
I
a broker
think you're
without
right.
one.
It comes down to the individual. I've been spoiled out here for the past 13 years. I love to go to an impeccable hotel that feels very luxurious with 7-star standards. That's what I like.
Okay, we've digressed a little bit in as much as that. What do you see that Dubai is doing in the more affordable housing range?
Well, affordable.
Are they just building rubbish?
Let's talk.
Because rubbish is cheap.
Are we talking affordable, or are we talking standards?
Okay,
Well, it's at the lower end of the market.
I've got 1 million dirhams. What can I buy in Dubai now?
Well, it's becoming more difficult. Obviously, the Central Bank of the UAE
Million
recently.
dirhams is £220,000.
The Central Bank of the UAE has recently taken away the opportunity for people to be able to borrow land registration fees and to borrow brokerage
Yeah, I
fees.
saw that.
Which, with the bread and butter that I sell in my developments, most clients do go for that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I would
Which
say
is like, it's okay,
6%
6%,
cash, yeah.
but when you're actually extending that over a 25-year mortgage,
yeah.
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like you end up paying back what, 10% more?
Oh yeah.
15%.
But it's the difference between continuing to rent at these prices or borrowing as much as possible because I don't have the cash and actually making a purchase. And you can't buy much nowadays for under 5 mil.
Under 5 mil. So Barney's 1 mil's not going to...
Am I in a lane right now?
No, but if we were to divide the market up, and let's say in 3 segments, you've got low, mid, and high. Your low end segment, is that just poor build quality like miles
Location.
out, or is it's just location, or you can
Predominantly
get some good build quality in there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I would say predominantly it's location. I mean, there's a lot of builders who are all building stuff that's largely the same. You know, a lot of these big developers are all using the same ceramic. They're all using the same sanitary ware. You know, it's really about the location and what they think they can get away with charging.
Because I'll tell you, in Abu Dhabi, we're now struggling because our better developers, they're only building luxury. So Aldar is a great example. In like sort of 2018, when the market was tough, they would build mid-market. You know, they got projects called Water's Edge and the Bridges, and that's mid-market. Now the market's picked up. They've got to touch that stuff. And to a certain extent, it's the quality of their land bank. They're just building high-end stuff. It's just expensive.
Stuff on the islands, though,
it's all 3,000 dirhams per square foot kind of plus stuff, and they're not interested in that. And so what we get left with is the lower end stuff, the cheaper ticket stuff, is the not so experienced or all the developers without the good reputation, and it's going to be a shoebox, not very good finishings, that kind of stuff. You see that in Dubai, or you still got decent developers. You can go
to one community. So the developers that get away with offering the least quality are the ones that build the best master communities, because that's what people are buying into. I know master communities here in Dubai that I've gone to do snagging at that's got, I'll just Dubai Creek Harbour as an example. Okay, I know that when I meet my snagging guy, the quality of every single tower is different depending on which contractor was building that tower.
So the contractor rather than the developer?
Absolutely, the main contractor, without a doubt.
Well, would the developer not have a one QS? Is it QS?
Quantity surveyor?
No, that's not a Q.
They'll go out to tender with all different main contractors to build that one tower.
But will they not have one guy that goes through all of the towers and goes, well, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong? They need some level of uniformity.
It just doesn't work like that. You've got main contractors, say Dubai Creek Harbour, there's 12 different main contractors on their building, 80 different towers. They all end up different. And when I meet my snagging guys, it's only then that they'll say, oh, which tower are you talking about? And I'll say, oh, this one. I go, yeah, that's one of the good ones. And I'll say, okay, so what about this one we've got to do as well? Oh, no. We're going to have to talk about that one.
I do remember that with JBR, when JBR was first handing over, there were different contractors on JBR, and I think they went through three, but one guy got the job to build all of them, didn't do a good job, got another one, and as you go further down JBR, the quality actually gets better because they bend the first guys. I've heard of that.
The best developers in Dubai for quality are the developers that own the main contractor that's building their developments.
Really?
Yep.
I'm disappointed that that's the truth.
That is the truth. For a couple of different reasons.
Because sorry to interrupt, but it should be in terms of capitalism. When you have the whole chain, it's because you're not an expert contractor, you're an expert developer. Mm-hmm. Your contractor should be poorer, generally speaking. I'm surprised that's the case, because you think professional contractors, that's all they do, that's their bread and butter, that's how they make money, they should be the best.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's not the case.
So I'll give you a great example, metrical developments. Metrical. They own the main contractor that builds all of their towers. All of the towers they have built over 30 years in Dubai. They're building the same towers, the same superstructures, the same car parks over and over again. They've absolutely perfected it. And the second thing, and I've been in the office many times when this has happened, and big developers can't do this. As soon as they start the finishes and they don't like something, in a 5-minute conversation, it's all changed. Easy, done, finished. You can't do that as a big developer, because that's where the main contractor gets their fees from changes.
But you're making the argument then that Metrical's first buildings were not as good as the buildings that they're delivering now.
They've been a main contractor in Dubai for 30 years.
If I go to a Metrical building 25 years ago,
but they've only been a developer, Metrical, for 5 years.
Oh, so hold on, they were a main contractor first.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
that's a different kind of.
It was never. It's a very natural, very organic way to become a developer, having been building for developers for many years.
Yeah, so we're working for someone like that at the moment. It's ACC, so they're very like big name in contracting and been in the UAE a lot, and so they're now just kind of dipping their toe in the developer space. It'd be interesting to see how it goes, because again, their bread and butter is being a contractor, so you'd expect the quality to be excellent, but they're not a developer, so
it's an interesting distinction for somebody who's watching this who doesn't know the difference between a developer and a contractor. Why don't you explain? You've done it. Why don't you explain it to somebody that needs a little bit of clarity?
A main contractor is a builder. They build houses. A developer is we'll call it a sales office. They market and sell the properties which are being built.
And they also design them as well.
They design the properties as well.
And the community.
Yeah, a lot of these small developers, it's not a community. It's just a single plot in JVT, JVC, RJAM, wherever it might be. So a lot of these small developers have been coming in with fantastic quality and designs, but they do lack the communities. So it's a kind of a balance.
So a developer is the guy that owns the land, designs it, sells it, and the contractor is the guy that comes along and puts the spade in the ground.
Exactly.
So in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and anywhere where the market's going up, so you've already got the land. The cost to build, it's gone up a bit just from general practices.
Gone up a lot.
Yeah. But now the price you can sell it at has gone up a lot.
Yes.
Right? So, probably double in most places in Dubai over the last 3 or 4 years. So developers have got a bit of headroom. They can also now sell what they were selling in 2018 exactly the same. We'll take Metrical, for example. If it's the same building, they can now sell that for twice as much.
Oh, yeah.
So are they still building the same thing, or have they gone, actually, we're going to make this, we spoke about at the top, we're going to make this more luxury, and we're going to, have better finishes and market it, in a better way, so we can charge 2.5 times as much because we think the market can bear that.
We have to, I was closely linked with Metrical and still have projects exclusive. When we look at a new project, so we were looking at a piece of land together, myself and Barney, for, how many villas was it?
196.
196. I think we were going to end up building about 400 units on there. The problem is that, yes, we're in a market right now where the price is, I still think there's a lot of room for growth with the market, but we're sitting fairly high, and we've all seen days where the prices have been much lower. The problem for us is that when you're putting a 5-plan, 6-year plan together for a development like that, where do we stand in 3 years? Do we still have this meat on the bone to be able to absorb
the
increased prices of the land and the build and everything else?
That's not a you problem. If you're buying at today's prices and you can get your escrow sorted in 6 to 8 months, you care about what things are selling for then. Right?
But you don't launch 400 units in one hit. You have to launch it in phases as you go.
Sure.
So you can launch it in one hit, right? But obviously...
But you need to sell it in one hit.
400 villas in one hit.
But then you get the incremental. Phase 1's cheap, phase 2's more expensive, phase 3's
so then you take on the risk as a developer, right? You can be like, okay, if I can sell it all tomorrow and lock in my profit, done, and then I can, go home and sleep. Or I can get a bit more profit because the market's going up. I'll sell some now, or sell enough to cover my costs.
Yeah.
And then, I'm going to wait and launch the other phases kind of later.
Like we've completely gone off topic here. Although
I'm trying to add more.
We're now talking about, this may as well be a developer podcast. What we're trying to ascertain is what are Abu Dhabi and Dubai doing to sate any entry-level property owners, and what's the difference between them and luxury, and how are you going to blend the two? And my argument was you can't have affordable luxury. Those two things are completely separate.
So in Abu Dhabi, you can't have it. In Abu Dhabi, we really struggle for entry-level stuff, but our market's still
But there's still
cheap.
A lot of entry-level stuff that's on the market, right? That's all leasehold stuff. You can only rent it. What if I've got 1 million dirhams and I want to buy something in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, you can buy a 1-bed, maybe even a 2-bed apartment, and if you're a bit further out. You can buy a 2-bed townhouse in Hydra Village.
That's on the border of Abu Dhabi, right?
No, it's not that far out.
I thought that got cancelled.
It's only leasehold.
Maybe Hydra 2
some phases of it got cancelled. So they built zone 6 and 7.
Interestingly, they were the first properties I ever sold when I came to Dubai. I was here 2 weeks and I sold 4 Hydra townhouses.
Did you? Hydra Village, yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, 1.2 will get you a 2-bed townhouse in Al Reef. So there is still some affordable, but they're not building anything else that's affordable. Particularly, and I'm surprised you're saying like small developers can get townhouses and villas. That's incredibly rare in Abu Dhabi.
You can get anything.
Developers don't sell that stuff.
No,
but I mean, even to develop it. So there's no projects that I know of or know of coming up that have been launched that are like, I would say, entry level in Abu Dhabi. Everyone's pushing this luxury, the high end,
which in itself devalues more money that way. The luxury, right? I mean, it ain't luxury.
It's the most overused word in real estate.
Yeah, but it devalues it. Surely.
Yeah, no, it's a valueless word completely.
But it also devalues what you're building. If you're building a shitload of the same thing.
How much?
A Brazilian?
Bucket load?
A Brazilian of them? If you're building a load of the same thing, you're devaluing it by simply reducing the scarcity.
I mean, possibly. And I think what people are doing in Dubai, and we've had a couple of podcasts about this, is adding brands. Because saying luxury all the time, this is like boring. Everyone's done it. But then if you say like, oh, okay, but this is going to be the Ferrari residence or the Bugatti or what was the one, the address. Then you're saying, okay, we're not just calling it luxury. We're actually saying, okay, there's a brand behind it, and that's why people pay so much for their man bags. Because they're Yves Saint Laurent man bag. It's gonna be worth more.
Not too much.
Stop asking him how much stuff is. We are British.
I cannot
see how uncomfortable it is. Do you know what I was going to? Do you know what I was going to say?
Less than the hotel.
Luxury. The word luxury. And let me take a step back. There has always been a lack of taste in Dubai. There has. Going back years, there has always been a lack of taste.
I would heartily agree.
Very few tasteful properties that you walk into. Now, luxury is defined by the individual or individuals that own the development company, because ultimately they choose the materials.
Luxury is defined by whatever your perception of luxury is. Luxury is a perception.
Absolutely, but the product is defined by the individuals that own the development company. They choose the materials. Then it would be for people like us to look at that and say whether we think it's luxurious or not. And with a very diverse amount of nationalities in this region, it can vastly change. I've been offered exclusive developments by developers, and they've told me, Daryl, this is the most luxurious townhouses that you ever would have seen in Dubai. And I go there and it's absolute trash. And I've declined most developments that come my way. That's who defines luxury is the individuals that own the development companies, because they sit there with the samples and they choose
the style in which it's executed, right?
Yeah.
You can have mid-range quality materials, but if you do it properly, it can pass as something that may be close to luxury. But you can have the absolute best products in the world and cobble it all together with some mastic and some sticky tape, and you sell it as luxury, but it isn't. It's the way it's executed.
A big part of it is, sorry to interrupt, is the architects. You can take a 4,000 square foot townhouse. A good architect will make it feel very luxurious inside. Big open plan, a feature staircase in the middle, lovely big open plan kitchen. Or another architect will destroy the layout by putting a downstairs bedroom, taking up all the space, a closed kitchen and a tiny living and dining area. So for me, luxury, I live in a what I believe to be a luxurious villa. It's around 6,000 square foot, and downstairs is completely open plan, and I love it. I've seen the same villas in the same location where I live in Jumeirah Park, and it feels so closed and dark and boxy inside.
That's the beautiful thing about Dubai, is that some people like that. They have his majlis, her majlis, they have closed kitchens, they have this compartmentalized living because that's the way they like to live. And you'll have a lot of people, more traditional families walk into your house and go, ugh,
yep,
not living here.
Yep.
That's the thing. But that's more about the layout rather than the luxury.
So is Dubai building any entry level stuff at the moment?
Not that I know of.
When we say entry-level stuff, what do we mean?
I mean, what's the cheapest that they're building that's comparative to what's already
international city kind of level?
Yeah, I mean, look, you can pick up these Damac apartments nowadays overlooking a river for 900 grand for a one bed. That would be considered entry level or thereabouts.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to go any less than that as an
There must
investor.
be, I mean, Damac are a massive developer, right? They're a massive developer. There must be smaller developers who are just cutting their teeth in the market and going, okay, look, we're gonna dip our toe in this, and we're gonna sell one bedrooms for 600,000-700,000.
Arjan,
but a bit further.
Arjan, areas like that. You've got developers that are selling small
Smelling
stuff
the
in there.
cell. So yeah, it's possible. You know,
Remran?
Yeah,
Just
those type of areas.
Pulling a word out of the air there.
there's Rembrandt.
I don't know. I've heard about it though.
There's Rembrandt.
It's a little way out. It's difficult to describe.
Yeah, I mean,
Never been there, but I know where it is on a map.
Is it behind Arabian Ranches?
It's up that way. Yeah.
I know where it is. Gotcha.
I mean, as long as the developers are not just pushing everything to the high end and they're building for everyone, because people will get left behind, right? And these price rises, there's a guy who I'm working with who was in Saudi for a while, came back to Dubai, and he's like, I can't afford to live where I want to live. I can't afford these house prices anymore because I didn't buy early enough. He's going to have to now live, further
I've had a couple
out
of people
now.
message me on my YouTube saying, same deal. They've had to leave Dubai because it's too expensive.
Yeah, or move out, further out. Which, I mean, it's just something that happens. But
But I mean,
left behind.
what are people building further? As far as I know, Damac Hills 2 is as far out as you can go. But then you can go down to Alain Road, and there's that whole stretch down there. But EMA are building stuff like the lakes or the lagoons or whatever it's
the
called.
valley.
The valley. That's 20 million dirhams for a 5-bed.
Up Alain Road.
And it's
On the
still
LA road.
45 minutes away.
Yeah. All right. I mean, it's 25 minutes from DIFC.
So did EMAR build anything entry level, or are they just the same as Aldar, just pushing everything to
EMAR.
the
I can't think
high end?
EMAR are mid-level.
Are they?
Mid-level, yeah.
Just
Okay.
hope
Well,
Mohammed
that's
Alabar
good.
doesn't.
Do you know
me
what?
off for
Let's
saying
talk about Damac Hills 2 for a second. We were laughing about this development for many years, and it is in the middle of nowhere, but it's turned around completely,
Yeah.
hugely. Everyone's looking.
It's a nice community.
I've never been there.
Okay.
In all honesty, I'm sure it's okay, but it's affordable.
Yeah.
If you look at
Still 3 million dirhams for a 4-bed. though.
look at the rent prices or the sales prices in Dubai over the last 3 years. Not everyone can afford this type of money. So where are they moving to? Areas like Damac Hills too.
Yeah.
That place was a ghost town 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Now it's thriving.
Yeah, people who invested in there early did well.
I was at the very first launch for Damac Hills 2. 3-bed townhouses for 1 million dirhams.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are they going for now? Any idea?
No idea.
2 and change, I reckon. Probably nearly 3, I reckon.
Yeah.
1.1,
That's a
1.2.
guess, but it just seems
Well,
seems like a nice number.
See, there's areas in Abu Dhabi, and Reef is a good example,
gonna have a look.
which was very affordable, and the price hasn't moved.
Yeah.
So it's still stuck there. Ooh, it's going to turn around this year.
Yeah.
But because we've had very kind of choppy increases, but it seems like Dubai, no matter where the project was, everything has gone up in price.
Yeah, I mean, everything's gone up. I mean, Damac Hills 2 really is, it's a long way out. It's just surprising how it has turned around. Very surprising.
All right, so we went for a 3-bedroom Damac Hills 2.
This will take a guess. 2 mil?
1.8.
You're way off there. You're looking at 1.8 to 1.6 to 1.8.
There we go.
Okay.
Well, 1.9.
1.6.
Hang on,
1.6.
it's going up. 2 million.
Probably bait and switch.
Only took 7 years to earn.
2.5 million. Hang on. This goes to show better homes have one for 2.5.
Wow.
And if you go to the cheapest one, it's 1.6 with Hoshha Real Estate. Huaxia. Hoshha.
Can I just speak about a brokerage that called me yesterday?
What do they call you? Dowel.
No. What are they called?
Oh.
Me bro.
Me bro!
I said, me bro? They said, yeah, as in me brother. I said, you're joking, right? They said, no, we're called me bro real estate.
South African. I said, bro.
That would be Mibru.
Mibru. Okay.
BRU. Yeah. That's how it would work.
Hey, look, I mean, there's a lot of real estate companies, the names are taken up, so you've got to be creative.
It's true, actually.
You've got to be creative. Look, I mean, okay, so going back to, there was a sale of a property in Emirates Hills recently, which I'm sure you've all heard about. Maybe you haven't. 425 million dirhams, right? I've had the privilege of going into this house, and this is
The
going
marble
back
mansion?
yeah, the marble mansion. This is going back to what people's perception of luxury is, right? I have not been in a house that has been finished to that level of quality in a long time. I mean, it's up there. Like the craftsmanship that went into this house was undeniable. Would I live there? You'd have to shoot me in the face.
I was just waiting for that.
I mean, look, it wasn't my style. It's gold leaf. It's 20 different types of marble inlaid on the floor. It's a huge fountain in the middle with $20,000 koi carp swimming around it. My idea of hell.
But somebody else's idea.
Somebody went, I like that.
Yeah.
I'll buy it. That's my idea of luxury.
Absolutely.
And I'm prepared to pay bonkers money for it. Right? So this goes back to the whole thing. Luxury is a matter of perception.
Absolutely.
And arguably price.
But I mean, finishing is, for me, I don't think luxury is a matter of perception. I think it's the finishing, the quality of the finishings. You can have different styles and designs and things like that.
Let me put it into lay terms for you, right? Okay, so
I'm a dumbass, I need lay terms.
Well done. I'm glad you voiced that. I mean, they're your words, not
Brotherly love.
right?
Let me speak slowly.
Intellect
for
is
you.
a matter of perception. You've got somebody, Babu, who drives an Uber.
Babu. You couldn't have thought of a different name than Babu.
No, I saw it in a meme once, and I was like, "Babu's such a good name."
Your kids have been watching that Babu program.
Are you sure that's racist, Barney?
Of the guy in in the crane on the top
can
of the
cut
Burj
that out,
Khalifa.
You're digging yourself deeper.
No,
You're digging yourself deeper.
Cut that out.
It was a meme of this guy who was in the crane on the top of the Burj Khalifa, and his name was Babu, and it's always stuck with me. Anyway, his potential idea, would be to walk into an email finish, which to people like us, we think is mid-range, and he might walk in and be like, "This is absolute luxury," right? So it's a matter of perception. You might also have the chap who bought this marble palace, and he would walk into it and go, "This is where my staff would live."
I mean, sure. I mean, these things are relative. Like expensive is relative, right?
So it is a matter
how
of
rich
perception.
you are.
It was me making my point in a wildly racist way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think we need to stop now because
that can't be the bookmark to this.
No, we'll just cut that bit off.
Not
It's
cutting
fine.
that out. That was brilliant. That was good TV, baby.
Anyway, thank you very much. I've been Ben from Abu Dhabi,
Barney from Dubai.
Daryl 100% property.
and that was our podcast.
We'll
Thank
see
you
you
very
again
much.
next time.